Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro PulseCon, or San Diego Comic Con is what it would have been, but it is the PulseCon 2021 box set exclusive. So this is the M.O.D.O.K World Domination Tour. It had this little slip cover on that, so if you saw like my pictures on Instagram and whatnot, it has the slip cover which just, you know, says M.O.D.O.K on there, which is pretty cool. Not really a whole lot going on the rest of it. But the package is really cool on this thing, but let's be honest, it's a fairly lackluster set. You know, we're getting another M.O.D.O.K, so if you had the previous M.O.D.O.K, there's now a new one that's just become available in a short amount of time, but you do get the first release of the Captain, or Captain bleep, I don't even know what it is because it's some kind of expletive, and it just shows like the crossbone skull thing in its place, and I don't actually know exactly what it stands for. It's all based off of the Marvel Nextwave comic run. It's not something that I have read, not something that I was ever really familiar with, but it's basically like a parody satire comic book, very comical and things like that. So, you know, Agent M, Ryan, I think Penganos from Marvel actually was the one to reveal this box set, and all of that, and he had talked about being a big fan of it. So it seemed pretty interesting. We've gotten some figures of characters from there, like Elsa Bloodstone, which was in the A-Force set, Monica Rambeau, which was also in the A-Force set. I do not have that open. My A-Force set is still in box, so I will not be doing any comparisons there, unfortunately. I will do like M.O.D.O.K with M.O.D.O.K, but that's going to be it. Try and keep the video as short as possible. But the packaging on this thing is pretty damn amazing. It is like a music carrying case, like if you go to a concert, like all the roadies and stuff, they would do there. Like at the top, you got this like M.O.D.O.K label. You get some of these other like labels that were like ripped off. You get some what looks like would have been tape. There's where like the handle would be. So that is pretty cool. Let's see the bottom. Again, just like the bottom of the case there. I'm not sure what this purple thing is, just like a purple sticker. So that is pretty cool. Looking at the side, you get a Hasbro logo there. There is a Marvel logo on the opposite corner. So again, that is all pretty cool. And then the sides, you would be like the clasps and locking mechanism there. So opening it up, I've already taken M.O.D.O.K out because if I wouldn't have, he would not stand in there. He would just kind of fall out. There was this piece that was taped in there to kind of hold him in place, but it didn't really hold too well once you open this thing. But looking at it, that is pretty cool. You see the Captain in there. You see the background. It looks like there's a burger. There's some sunglasses, passport, some VIP guests. So there's a couple of things. There also is an AIM name badge that says George Charlton. So that is actually who M.O.D.O.K is, right? So that's kind of interesting that they included a name badge form. That was actually pretty cool. So let's kind of get the Captain out of the way so you can see that name badge right in there. Again, that is pretty cool. Looking in on this side, we get some drumsticks that's kind of embossed in there, so that is pretty cool. You got a set list. It says Hydra Ground, Loathsome Caress, Scientist for the Devil, My Name is M.O.D.O.K, Always on My Psionic Mind, Killing Me, Raven Croftley, Shockwave, Ride the Whip, Exter Tarleton, and Nextwave for All. For those about to M.O.D.O.K, Why Can't This Be Hate, and Captain's Crying. So that's pretty interesting. We get a picture of Elvis M.O.D.O.K there, and then we have a look at some of the characters from Nextwave Agents of Hate. So again, pretty cool box packaging and setup and everything going on here. There is the additional accessory, so this like opens up and you got those additional accessory pieces there. So let's take a look at the figures now so you can kind of go over everything, but that is enough for the package. Okay, so here are the two figures and the accessories out of the package. So first, let's take a look at the accessories. So we get this like burger laser effect piece there. We have a peg hole here at the bottom of the middle burger because we got that stand back there that will hold this in place. So it's like M.O.D.O.K can actually shoot this at people, which is kind of a crazy concept, right? So that is interesting. There's actually some pretty nice detail in the coloring of everything, like the bun to the cheese to the burger patty, the lettuce that's on there. So that is actually pretty cool. Even the sesame seeds up there, that's not painted, but they're sculpted on there, so that is pretty cool. And then the red in between. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to be about from that particular comic run, but it is just kind of craziness that they would do something like that. So here we have the stand piece. It's very similar to like what came with Herbie and whatnot, but this is definitely a taller version, and when you just kind of put that right in there, and that'll hold the burgers up, no problem there. We do get interchangeable hands for M.O.D.O.K, so out of the package he just has the wide open hands. Then we do have a fist for his right hand, and then we have the holding hand or trigger finger hand for his left, which he would be able to use the microphone joystick there of his seat thing. And then we have this pair of sunglasses here, and you can see God, I feel like I can't think today. But the sunglasses, the parts that go there, you can see they're very short, because what you do is you actually have a couple of notches on each side, so you can kind of just put that in and plug it right on into M.O.D.O.K's face, and it holds there like so, and that is pretty good. And then we get an interchangeable head for the captain. So here we have this particular version. So here, you know, he's not looking too happy, he looks kind of mad, he's kind of grinning, not grinning, but yeah, looks pretty good. Whoop. And then here we have this version, so it looks like he's kind of smiling there. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, you would have seen already that my figure did break. It's weird the way they did the neck peg, and I will show you guys that here in the video. I was able to fix it, and I do have a method for you guys to not, you know, do this and break your neck peg every single time you want to swap out the heads. It's pretty ridiculous that that ends up what you know, what happens, but I guess it is what it is. I'm not really sure, but it's a pretty terrible design flaw. So let's get into it. Let's take a closer look at the captain. We'll first go over that. I'll talk about the head sculpt and what happened there, but let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so here is a close-up look at the captain, and the head sculpt looks pretty good. I have no complaints with it other than the way the neck system kind of works on there. But yeah, he looks pretty good. It looks like he's got some deep bags under his eyes. His ears are sculpted all like funky, or at least his right ear is sculpted all funky. He's got a little bit of cauliflower ear, it seems, or it's just a flaw in my head sculpt, which I just now realized it is not a problem. On this one, his ear is just fine, but on this one, the ear looks like crap. What happened there? So not sure if that's going to be the case with everyone's, or if that is just mine, but again, I seem to have some issues with mine. But we got some new parts going on here. He has pinless legs, so it looks like these legs are actually going to be new. It's not like the Punisher legs like I kind of thought they would be originally, but you got some pockets there, so these legs are probably going to be pretty versatile, and we may see them used over and over again. We get a brown belt in there with a nice silver gunmetal color buckle that is done quite nicely there. He's got these red shoes on, these high tops, like so, with the white laces and the white soles, and you can see he's wearing white socks. That actually all looks pretty good. We get this jacket here. This is the same jacket that the Netflix Punisher used, the same arms as well. But the torso piece, I believe, is new. We get this collar piece there. That looks pretty good, black star on there, and we get these nice butterfly joints that are in there, and they did it the color of the jacket, so you know, if you're moving around the arm, you're not seeing white of the shirt, you're seeing the jacket, so that is done pretty cool. But I'm going to show you guys first the fix of how to prevent the neck ball hinge from popping off every single time. So if you turn the head, you can see the hinge there. You hold it in place and pull back on the head sculpt to be able to change out the head. Because what I did is I was like, oh cool, let me take this out, I'll take some pictures, pop this head off. That was no problem at first. Then I popped this head on there. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. That's a good looking head sculpt. He's got this like mad looking face or unimpressed looking face. So not bad. But then I went like this to pull the head, and I'm like, oh shit, what happened? Focus. And then this happened. So not good. Not good at all. And I don't know what the real problem here is. Is it because the hinge, you can see it's not a full ring? How do they get that to work on there? You could see that you can't even go all the way through because there's a hunk of plastic there. So again, I don't know if it's a flaw on mine where there's that plastic piece there. So this ring wouldn't actually go all the way around it in the first place. but this is what happened, and it was kind of a pain in the ass to pop this back onto that neck piece. So what I had originally done was I had pulled this out of the head sculpt, and then I used a chopstick to go through the ring, and as the squared end of the back piece started to go there, it would kind of widen out this ring to where I could fit it and force it back onto that neck portion there. That is not something that we should have to do. This is, in my eyes, an extremely poor design flaw. I've broken neck pegs before swapping out heads. That's why I try not to do it, especially on female figures with heads that don't go to the figure. But on here, this is what we're supposed to do. Why would we have to do anything different to try and get the figure taken care of? Like, this is not what we should do. So let me get off camera and pop this thing back on. Again, it's a temporary fix. I don't know if they're all going to be like this or if it's just mine, but again, a very big, poor design flaw. You know what, maybe I will do it on video for you guys to see. So I just used the chopstick, and then again here at this larger end, as it kind of forces through, it opens up that ring to where I can kind of position it and keep pulling through. And then once I kind of get it through, I'm like forcing down on the ring to try and get it back onto that neck piece, which I just kind of missed the mark there a little bit just now. So let me try that. Let me try that again. A little bit harder because I'm trying to focus on making sure I'm in frame of the camera so you guys could see it. But yeah, this is how I was able to get it back on there, and no luck this time, so I'm gonna have to do it off camera. But that's how I was able to get this neck ball back on the hinge. So I hate it. So I was able to just actually kind of use my fingers a little bit to pry it on there to kind of force it down, and I think I've kind of loosened the plastic up until this point to be able to do that. And again, I don't know if that's how it really should be or if it's a real design flaw, because even that hinge looks like it pokes out. So I don't know if there was that extra bit of plastic that seemed to be in there, or if it should have been a full ring around to kind of catch so it wouldn't. Because like here, I think the problem is, you know, I'm not going to get that hinge all the way down because that plastic piece isn't going to be able to go through. So again, I think that's just a major issue. Hopefully it's just mine and it's not on a lot of your guys's. So I think I'm going to be reaching out to Hasbro Pulse to see if it's something that they're going to be able to replace for mine. But yeah, so now let's move on to M.O.D.O.K. And he has the crazy Elvis face and hair on this particular guy. He comes assembled already out of the package, so you can see you can remove the face plates and the hair, and it is all the same. You could still, if you wanted to, take it apart and do all of that. It's essentially the same figure, but there are some differences between the two M.O.D.O.Ks, and that's mainly going to be in color. And again, aside from the obvious of his hair and the face sculpt itself. Oh yeah, I did not think this through. I'm making this way overcomplicated. Turn into Kevin over here, toying around. If you didn't know, he had some difficulties assembling his M.O.D.O.K the first time. So yeah, so we will do a comparison between the two, but again, the main things are going to be everything in the color of the M.O.D.O.Ks, you know, obviously aside from the face and the hair. We don't, this portion here, this headband portion, we don't get that on this new M.O.D.O.K. There you can see his hover chair is a little bit more dull of a gold color. We get the same kind of highlights. The shades just a little bit different. You know, we don't get the painted detail here, but those vents, we get some blue paint in there, whereas we didn't get anything on this previous one. And it's not something I actually even really noticed, but again, no paint detail here on these lines, but everything else seems to kind of match up. So no paint there, but we got those the blue painted vents. So, you know, I think it's a little bit of give and take there. And of course, you know, the buttons and stuff. And we actually get more paint on this new one. So you can see we just had red buttons here with black outline. We didn't get the outline here, but we got a red and a green button. And then the switches, whereas we didn't get any paint on the original M.O.D.O.K, we actually get some paint on each one of these switches. So that is actually pretty cool. That's added a little bit of paint detail. And then right here on this ring, just above my thumb, there's a little bit of red paint in there, whereas this one did not get any of that paint details in there. We get red here and here. We didn't get that on this one, but this one had this squiggly green line. This one is red because you can do kind of the shooting effect. Like if he's shooting the burgers out of it, that's kind of how that would look. You can kind of, you gotta have to kind of tilt it like this a little bit to really line that up. So that is pretty crazy there. The flame effects are a little bit different as well. You can see look at the red and the orange there. We actually get a brighter color on the new one, but it's essentially the same thing. So that is pretty cool. His arms and legs, we had more of a purple color on the original release. Now we get this metallic blue color. The sculpt of it, of course, is all the same and everything. And then here's the M.O.D.O.K face. Skin tone looks to be about the same. No real change there. Lips and teeth color are about the same. But hair color is different, whereas Elvis jet black hair versus the brown hair of the original release. So essentially the same thing, but you know, if you want a classic M.O.D.O.K, that's the one that was, you know, the wide retail release, whereas this exclusive version, you know, is different. Obviously the joystick, again, with the microphone versus the standard joystick type here. And that's it for the differences. Okay, so I will not be going over the articulation of M.O.D.O.K because obviously I did that one before. So with this being the new figure, we will take a look at this. So getting him to look down, again, you can only get him to look down so much because you can see my hinge is coming off of that neck peg. So again, be careful. Let me know in the comments below if you have the same problem. Can't really get him to look up because you can see that disc is already separating, so that is unfortunate. You get the full rotation though, and a whole lot of pivot going on there. Shoulder, you can get it to go straight out. You get a full rotation in there. Again, there is a butterfly joint. The jacket is going to hinder that somewhat, so you can go back a little bit and you can come forward a little bit. So you can see the motion there. Upper bicep swivel in there. Single jointed elbow with a swivel at the elbow, and you're going to get just about 90-degree bend with that elbow there. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge, standard horizontal hinge. Has fists for both of the hands. He has an ab crunch, so he can crunch forward that much. Going back, you can do it, but the jacket's going to kind of hinder that, but you can get him to lean back a little bit, so that is pretty cool. Waist swivel in there. Legs go out that far apart. Can kick forward that high, so not too shabby. Leg actually goes back quite a bit. Upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed knee like so. Decent looking knee there. Let's see about a swivel. Swivel at the cuff of the pant right there, not the actual like pant leg there. So it's like the elastic portion there at the top of the shoe. So that is a nice little hidden spot there that I didn't see coming. So swivel there. Foot hinges down, and it's very stiff, so you may want to warm yours up. And then we get some hinge going up, but again, it's very stiff. You want to be very careful, so you get some hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So there is the Captain and his articulation. Okay, and so that's the two-pack review. I'm going to cut the review off there without going over the articulation of M.O.D.O.K. It's a very disappointing set for me because of the Captain. You know, great to get a new character, but that ball hinge, that neck disc hinge, I don't know what's going on with that. Again, might just be a flaw with mine. Hopefully it was just a flaw with mine and not anyone else. The stand for the burger laser is pretty cool, as you can see there, but it's kind of weird because so you look at the height of M.O.D.O.K. So if to get it like he's shooting it out of that spot there, you have to angle it so high, but you have to do it basically not hardly pegging this thing in, so you're at risk of it falling off very easily. So if you just kind of pegged it in to the stand, that is how high up it would come. And it's not like a ball joint where you can just swivel it and get it to point upwards. No, you have to position it on that peg, barely on there, in hopes that it's gonna angle and hold itself. So it's a poor design flaw on this as well. Stand hopefully should have been a little bit taller. I know I've been pretty negative in this review, and I don't mean to be. The M.O.D.O.K is fun. He's really cool. If you have the previous M.O.D.O.K, you know exactly what to expect. But the design of the Elvis hair and the sunglasses with his lip curled off to the side, it's funny. It's really cool. The microphone joystick is a nice little touch as well. So you can't even be mad at this M.O.D.O.K figure. But the Captain, he's got some cool things going on. The butterfly joints are a nice touch. The pants being pinless on the knees with those new parts, really cool. Nice painted detail of the belt and the belt buckle, so I like that. The shoes are cool. The white laces on there, and they're painted pretty nicely. You know, you can see some red bleed through there, but the neck of this guy really hinders it and hurts it. I know it wasn't going to be a very popular set to begin with. In fact, it's still available online. I want to say it's the only PulseCon exclusive item that is still available to purchase now, which is unfortunate. But it's one of those things where just not everybody wanted it. I know there was a lot of disappointment when it came out. M.O.D.O.K had just previously released when they announced this figure, so M.O.D.O.K was still very new. And of course, everyone's going to want the classic M.O.D.O.K over this Elvis M.O.D.O.K. And then the case, the box, is awesome. San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, that's kind of what it used to be. We haven't had like an awesome box set with the awesome packaging in a couple of years, right? I'm trying to think of what was last. Well, Hellfire Club was cool, yeah, but nothing super special about it. Oh, you know what? Though it was cool. It was cool. The Defenders box set was really cool with the subway train. Can't get mad at that. The Raft was interesting, and I can't think of others right now at this point. So the packaging is a whole lot of it. This set, I believe, was $72.99 or $73.99. It's pricey for sure. M.O.D.O.K was a $50 figure, which would make Captain, if you count that, be like a $23 figure, which is pretty standard nowadays. But the packaging, you know, it took up a lot of that cost, I'm sure. But it is pretty cool. But anyway, I'll have a link in the video description below if you want to pick up this set. Hopefully you don't have any problems with your neck. But again, please, if you guys have this set, let me know. Do you have that same issue with the neck hinge on yours that I do on mine? Hopefully you don't. Hopefully it's just mine. Hopefully Hasbro will be able to replace it, since it's an item that is still in stock and they don't give me the whole, well, we don't have anything, we'll send you something of equal value. But fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. But you guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of this 2-pack, what you think of the video. Probably not a very good video, my apologies for that, but this thing I'm not happy with, which is too bad because the figure is actually a lot of fun. But anyway, if you guys liked the video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.